so we'll have to see. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm working on the audio for the show, so if you can't hear me or you can't hear the guests, let me know as soon as possible, because holy shit. So, yeah, who we got? We got Habib. Hello, Habib. I haven't put you on the guest list yet. Focus break. I'm a bad person. Hello. We got Bakura, of course.
Better now?
You sound lovely. What happened? What did you do?
Laugh mic.
Better. That's what I want. Quality. Don't mess me around next time. Don't go experimenting. It's not how we do things around here, mate. I want the best.
Yeah.
I'm not being mean. It's for your own good. Don't try my hand. So, we got Luca, of course, who I've basically got him at the start of the guest list, because what's the point? Let me get Focus break in. So, how are you guys doing? What have you been up to, Focus? Habib?
Oh, well, what I've been up to? Games, and watched a couple of shows.
Meat.
And video games.
I think you were talking about meat earlier. A man who likes his burgers.
Yeah, I mean, did I post more burgers? I don't remember. Like, I post so much food porn. Like, I lose track.
The thing is, you have to start bringing your own original works to the scene, mate. You've got to up your level.
The thing is, like,
you've got all the tech there, mate. You know you can do this.
I know.
You could make them delicious.
But here's the thing. Like, I bought Resident Evil 2. Already beat it. And my friends gifted me 2 games. I got Soul Calibur 6 on Steam and Yakuza 0.
Nice.
I just got Yakuza 0 just like today from a guy, and he's like, you just gotta play it. And
you just got it from a guy.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about Yakuza.
Habib vegan confirmed, apparently, according to Ollie.
Okay, if you want to, I mean, why not?
Okay, let's go to it. There we go. Nice. So yeah, I've been sort of like setting the place up. Can you hear me nice and clear? Can you hear the music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is everybody else?
I can't hear the music here though. Well,
you
maybe the YouTube guys.
You can't hear the music?
Only because we keep talking. When we're quiet, we can hear it.
Yeah. It's not. I'm hoping that's not like that for everybody else. But I'm still tweaking this at the moment. I'm trying to use sort of virtual audio, and it's all a bit of a pain. But it does mean that when we do videos, I don't have to worry too much. I can just share this with the guys, and it's off. It does its thing. So that's all cool. Yeah, so we're high tech. Nothing but the best for y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been just writing up the preliminaries for a music video. So I've been busy over the week. It's quite nice. I forgot what it's like to work sometimes. So that's been fun. And what have you been up to, Bakura?
Me?
What is it? What is it exactly that you do here?
Sorry?
What is it exactly that you do?
What do I do?
What do you do?
Mostly just sit around on the internet, watching anime, or just watching telly, or sleeping.
Staring into the top of your head.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a living. If you can get it. Is that really what you're doing with your life? Is that why you're here?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not healthy, mate. We need to get you outside a bit. You're gonna lose your mind down there. If you live in anime, you'll grind you down. It'll kill you eventually. I don't hate the sin. I hate the sinner. That's the kind of guy I am. Deal with it. Actually, now that I'm looking at the character, I understand why you picked it now. This is quintessentially how you look. Do you have hair like that? Or would you like to have hair like that?
I don't know. Be interesting. But simply, by the way, the character, that character is Bakura. That's where I got the name from.
Okay. I don't care because it's anime. I'm too old for that stuff. I'm too much of a boomer. I can't do the anime of today. It's just.
Oh, no, it's an old anime.
It's all today now. This is the thing, you see. It's a wedge. You've got to put some cultural boundaries in your head, otherwise you'll just go mad. I've got other things to think about. You know what I mean? Life is hard. You wait. You won't like it neither.
Oh no, I'm already hating it.
So yeah, everybody's asking me what's going on with Brexit. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the thing.
And it's like 2 months. And it's like 2 months to go. It's like, oh jeez.
The Brexit news right now is kind of good. Nobody knows what anybody knows of whatever anyone knows about it. It's like, you know. So, I mean, the news right now is basically that the Tory donors are just deserting the party at this point. So they're basically financially finished. Because there's only about 15 people that keep the whole fucking party afloat. So now they're even pissing off their paymasters, which is funny. Because they've got themselves completely lost in this. Everyone's sitting there kind of going, yay, revolution! It's like, what is this? What are you doing? What, sending them in a tailspin? They're in charge of the ship! We're in the ship!
You're about to crash into rocks.
Yeah, it's like shooting down your own planes.
It's as
That'll
if this
teach
was a
'em.
stupid idea from the beginning.
Yeah,
Thanks for
anybody
that,
could have told you that, but try getting to the wall of the Dunkirk spirit.
Woo!
There doesn't sit at the moment. If you have a look on the news, trying to understand what is going on with Brexit, it is impossible.
I mean, all I care about is that that bomb that exploded in Northern Ireland. Yeah, they're still investigating that. I mean, that's more important to me than some idiots in Westminster deciding, hey, let's just crash this country to the fucking ground. Because it's like, I don't care anymore. You could just stop it. All you need to do is fucking lock up all these Brexiteers in one part of the country and never let them out again.
Well, you're not killing people yet.
Yeah, look, just build a fucking wall around the poorest part of the country, no resources, shittiest land. Build a slum in there and just stick them all in there. Yeah, that's Brexit land. This is your country. Enjoy.
Okay, now he's killing people slowly.
How many? How long? 9 minutes he lasted.
They can still grow
9
food.
minutes. Well done,
It's just
mate.
gonna be very poor quality food.
Hello.
Okay, so I don't know how good the noise cancelling that I just set up is. Let's try to take a hit of this vape and see how loud it's going to be. Just do this as a test.
Testing. Yes, we heard that loud and clear. That was perfect.
Oh, was it loud annoying, or was it just like...
I know, it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What was I going to say? Like, yeah, I pretty much ignored everything like drama or internet or politics for the past couple of weeks. Been
How you feeling?
Just working. Yeah, been
great,
playing
isn't it?
games, doing some work, and more games, and watching stuff. Like, I watched a couple of movies, and one of them was a pleasant surprise. Like, I didn't expect it to be this good. A Blade Runner.
You've never seen Blade Runner?
No, I've watched the original one, and to be honest with you, like the worst part about the original one is that I have to turn on the subtitles because everybody just murmurs their words.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, it's like speak up for fuck's
And Harrison
sake.
Ford playing Harrison Ford because he doesn't know how to play any other character other than Harrison Ford. I'm telling you, man, this guy is overrated as an actor. But yeah, it's like you have a bunch of people on the scene and they go like, and the other guy's like, and you're like, is this acting? Like, what am I missing here? But the new one is just fucking brilliant. Like, it's... And Robin will know what I'm talking about. Like, there's very few directors that can hold a wide still shot for more than 3 to 7 seconds and make it leave an impact without being pretentious about it.
I aim to do that soon.
And that, yeah, like the set design of every single scene in that movie is just fucking brilliant. I loved it.
By the way, Ink Bleedful says Brexit sounds like some cereal from Kellogg's.
I'm actually I muted myself because I was eating cereal from Kellogg's.
Yeah, coincidence.
Crunchy nuts.
It's the worst idea since those ones that have got like raisins in the center.
What breaks it?
Yeah.
Or the Kellogg stuff.
I'm trying to make it relatable for the kids.
Relatable for the kids.
Ask Bakura. Ask which game would you and the rest play for 54 hours? I'd probably play Shadow of Rome. I'd probably do Witcher.
50 plus hours. I would say Witcher, Skyrim, Elite Dangerous, Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, we can't have you. No,
10.
because you're only allowed 54 hours. On
Puppet's talking, well, technically referencing H-Bomber guy who did a 54-hour stream apparently.
That's not as long. It's not as long as ours. Ours was 65. Go fuck yourself.
Yes, and apparently the media
he did 24 hours. He did 24 hours playing Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong 64 or something like that.
And a lot of journalists, media journalists, I say, says that this stream has killed Gamergate. What?
Okay.
What? No. When was it still alive?
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
And there was a reason.
Like Sargon trying to revive Gamergate somehow. It's like, why? It's like America saying, "Hey, let's start the Vietnam War again." Why?
Because we need a war.
Yeah.
Oh, Trump does need a war, doesn't he?
Yeah, he probably just declared war on either Korea or Venezuela. Well, most likely Venezuela now because he's really friendly with Kim Jong-un for some reason. Yeah, he's really friendly with the people that could actually threaten America, but those that don't, he's just willing to fucking bully them.
Yeah. Well, he's tried to shut down the government.
2.0, I would go after all the gaming YouTubers that came out and we were like, yeah, we're the new media of gaming now, because they turned, most of them at least, into drama channels where you have the serious YouTuber and / gamer viewer and news broadcaster Yongye, that Asian guy, and he's still, every single video he's still ranting about Fallout 76, like
as
ignoring
he
everything.
Goddamn well should be.
As an American.
Here's the thing. In the end of every single video, he goes like, for all your gaming news, reviews, and previews.
Yong Yao.
And okay, what about all the other stuff that came out since Fallout 76? He didn't cover anything except for the gaming awards, and then he went back into just Fallout 76. That's his entire channel is just, oh yeah, it's just.
Why are we shitting on the Asian guy? What
yeah,
happened?
what the hell, man?
Like, it's the thing, like, okay,
what's wrong with
if
you?
there was a Gamergate, like I would expect more from people that go like, hey, we're gonna bring you gaming news and reviews and all that. Like, we just got Resident Evil 2. Did he cover it? No, he did not. We just, like, there's a big news in the gaming world right now. Farming Simulator has an esports league.
Ugh! Kill
like,
me.
How? Why?
Kill me now.
Yeah, like,
how you doing,
why
Micro?
is that even a thing? They dedicated like 250,000 pounds to it, or 250,000 euros, and yeah, they have a league, and there's like a convention, and I'm like, this is a game. Like, by the way, I learned about it from Kotaku.
Farming Simulator.
That website, the old Gamergate is like, oh no, Kotaku is like the hive of SJWs and bad news, and they're giving me like this kind of interesting tidbit that none of the gaming YouTubers are even talking about, because no, let's just talk about Fallout 76, and no, not even Fallout 76. His latest video is ranting about a jacket that was sold on the Bethesda store, and some people didn't like it, and I'm like, who cares about a jacket? Give me games. What's happening with games? Anthem just released their open their closed beta thing. No word about it. Let's talk about a jacket instead.
I'm looking at his channel, bud, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That shit's working. So
yeah, again, here's the thing.
People want to shit on Fallout, apparently.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, instead of instead of answering to other gaming developers or publishers or advertisers, he's catering to clicks.
Exactly.
And clicks come from where? Come from drama. So he's no longer about gaming. He's all about the drama now. Let's just shit on a game that everybody's just like. It's cool to shit on because it's.
And Abby, what's ironic is that that was the crux of the first Gamergate. All this drama, clickbait, collusion. It's like, yeah, you become like them. So shut the fuck up and go back to your D&D
That's the thing.
game.
Like again, clickbait sells. And now it's a thing that even serious YouTubers that I used to respect, I'm seeing like more and more of them fall into the same trap. And yeah, how can I annoy by it?
Yeah, well, that's YouTubers, man. I have a whole theory on this, actually.
Yeah, well.
I mean, what are you gonna? Okay, well, YouTubers are terrible people. I'm gonna preface with that.
Yeah, okay.
They kind of are.
Yeah, no, I've been working on this theory a little bit. The YouTubers, what they do is just they this is why we have so many cults of personality on the internet, right? What they do is just they act basically like parasites on their community. Right? They at some point in a YouTuber's career, they become reliant on their the people that watch them for their income, right? At some point, you're going to be spending more time on your YouTube channel than you do on anything else. And because of that, you are going to need people to watch you. And because of that, you're going to be beholden to the the whims of your audience. And, do you know what a...
Preaching to the choir, man.
Do you know what a parasocial relationship is? Any of you?
I mean,
I do, because he told me.
Parasocial relationship is basically where it's one person knows everything about the other person, but the person on the other end of it doesn't know anything about the other person, right?
So basically everyone's life here.
Well,
yeah, I get a bit of that. Like, I got a bit of it when I was with hairysoap on his show, and there were some commenters there that have been following me for years, and I didn't recognize any of them. And some people were like, in the chat, I was just reading the chat, and people were like, "Why don't you tell the bacon story in Canada?" I'm like, dude, these guys know my stories, even though I don't know who they are. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, though, is that all YouTubers basically at some point, because they become reliant on their YouTube income, they foment these parasocial relationships. So you get a bunch of dipshits basically falling around one guy on the internet. They know everything. Like, let's use Sargon because you guys don't like this guy. He's got
I'm
a
not
bunch
angry.
Of people that know
I'm just
every
disappointed.
Single ounce of his life, everything that he does, every step, move that he makes, and he panders to that. You can go watch, if you watch his live streams.
I know.
You can see his little. You can see how he does this. Every YouTuber does this. It's not just Sargon. Eventually, when you get to a certain level, you're gonna start fomenting these parasocial relationships with your fans, pretending like you actually care about them, like you know who they are, and blah blah. But that's because you need their money.
And I have never ever said that about anybody here, have I?
Nah.
That's right.
Point being,
I never ever care about you openly.
If you want to be like a drama channel that's related to gaming, that's fine. But don't pretend to be anything else. Don't pretend to be a news channel.
Yeah,
Some people pretend to be just like us,
And just to finalize this statement, do you know who the most authentic YouTuber is?
Who?
Ethan Ralph. He doesn't give a shit.
He's certainly consistent. I wouldn't say authentic, though.
He doesn't give a shit about his audience. He doesn't care. And that's how it should be. People should know that these are just fucking idiots on the internet, right? I mean that should, instead of creating these little cults of personality. Look at Stefan Molyneux. Jesus fucking Christ, that guy.
Yeah, his followers are fucking nuts. Like,
he's got his own little fucking cult guy. He's actually been accused of it, of being a cult leader.
Oh, dude, Alex Jones. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with Alex Jones. I mean, for fuck's sake, his followers are mind-numbingly psychotic.
But this is what YouTube does. It reinforces this, and I don't even blame YouTubers. They've basically fallen into the trap themselves.
Everything is mind-numbingly stupid.
I get to blame them, especially when you have someone like Young, that keeps going like, traditional media is bad. Traditional media is bad. He keeps saying that every single chance he gets, and then he falls into the same trap. Like, he just said that, he likes to cover Fallout 76. That's his latest channel. That's his shtick. You know what else Fallout 76 just did? Last week on Thursday, they announced they can revamp PvP from scratch in that entire game. Did he even talk about it? No, he did not. He talked about a jacket instead. A jacket that's been sold on their merch store. Like, how is that related to the game?
Not. But that's what people want to hear.
I don't know. I mean,
see how it works now, buddy.
I mean, you know what the problem is? Then Microsoft, they shouldn't complain about the media when the mainstream media does the same thing. It's like, you guys are doing the same. Shut up. You know.
I don't know to tell you, buddy. I mean, just gonna sit here and grin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just.
And now you understand why he drinks.
Hypocrisy at this point when he criticizes website like Kotaku and Polygon for doing the same stuff when it comes to clickbait, and now he's just going like, I'm just gonna go with the clicks. It's fine if it works. Just admit to it, like, it works, but don't pretend anything. Don't pretend to be anything else.
Yeah, you're just basically following Keemstar.
I mean, but that works.
I mean, how many Keemstars does anyone need? I don't get it, because they're all just basically feeding from the same trough.
Do we need Keemstar? I mean, I don't know.
I know we're not really in the realms of need at this point, are we?
Well, they're look.
This is Car Crash TV. What else can you call it?
They're entrepreneurs, sir.
Oh, give me a break.
They've made a business.
He's giving us
for
a break.
Themselves. I can't even say it. Oh god. Yeah, no, but it is fucking terrible. Honestly, the more I've been looking at YouTube, the more I've just been realizing like what a fucking horrible thing YouTube is.
People are awful, aren't they?
No, I don't think people are awful. I just think that YouTube's a fucking nightmare. I don't think it should exist. But that's just my opinion. Don't kill me. Now, should I get the bourbon or the Japanese whiskey? What do you think, guys?
Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskey.
Okay.
You want it. You want it. Is it good? Japanese whiskey.
I'm going to view the local pricing, and if it's asshole prices, the answer is no.
Asshole prices.
Look, dude, if you're going to do Japanese whiskey, do Japanese whiskey. Shut the fuck up.
$55.
Okay, yeah, that's a struggle.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, from Puppet is Mycroft defending the creator of Gamergate Mundane Matt?
Oh, you leave Matt alone. He's a fucking idiot. It's not his fault.
It's all his fault.
I will say this though: who buys a fucking house on YouTube income? Who does that?
Successful people.
That's a silly thing to do, especially, Matt is just, I don't know how to explain Matt. Matt is like
he's an entrepreneur, isn't he, Michael?
He's a good-natured retard.
He's an entrepreneur, Mycroft.
I don't want to be a dick to Matt. It's like low hanging fruit at this point, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean,
that's
like
rude.
if
You're
you
a
look at
mean man. Kick a man when he's
If you-
down.
I will not, sir. Just sit here and buy my whiskey.
I sort of like the idea that Mycroft doesn't want to be a dick to someone for a check.
Move your mic closer to your mouth, Silver.
God damn it. I
Every
demand
time.
quality.
Oh wait, hang on a sec.
We need to start GoFundMe for a mic for him.
Glenn Fittich, Bourbon Barrel, 14 years.
Motherfucker.
It's Glenfiddich, not Fiddich.
Whatever. I'm
Ignorant
American. I'll
foreigner.
pronounce
Dude.
it however the fuck I want.
Oh, man.
Tornadoes.
Well, I'm going to buy Glenn Fittich, so I don't know what bourbon you're talking about, buddy.
If you're gonna get a decent one, try something like Lafrogue.
I don't really like Scotch, to be honest.
I don't like Scotch, so I'm going to get Glenfiddich. Right.
Well, because it's a bourbon barrel 14-year reserve. If it says bourbon, it's got to be good.
Fucking hell. Try Bushmills Orange Black Label. There's another one. That's not Scottish, that's Irish.
You know what's a really good... I'm totally derailing the conversation on the booze right now. I just realized that. Single pot still Irish whiskey, Redbreast. If you've never had it, try it. The 12-year is better than the 14, though. The red bottle. That's the good one.
Well, that's unusual. Normally, the older it is, the better it, the more mellow flavour it is.
Well, I don't know. It's my opinion. Free to disagree.
Well, you're the expert on down
I am.
in huge quantities while on live stream.
I am exceptionally good at that, actually. Thank you for asking.
This is where he comes to drink.
Well, yeah, basically.
I only drink when I'm streaming.
That's probably
I mean,
for the
that's-
best, really. I'm saving lives here, dude. Without me, he's sunk. You know that, don't you?
Without you, it'd be a Mormon. No alcohol.
You know, I've been looking at the religious people lately.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
No,
God.
shit.
He's swinging.
Why would
Well, no, actually, you know how I like the Episcopalians.
You just get crowd high. That's what you get.
You know, I don't like Presbyterians. Presbyterians, man. Fucking.
You don't like the Scots?
No, they're assholes, dude. Presbyterians are fucking assholes.
Let me
There. Dude, no, they. I don't know if you guys have ever met, like, a young Presbyterian. They are ruthless to themselves. They're fucking. I don't know what it is about the Presbyterian faith, but they make the people, like the men in the religion, dude. They make them into like these.
Really self-hating freaks.
Yeah, like it's
Excellent.
bad. Like it's really bad. Like,
That means their swinging to atheism will be that much easier.
Well, I told you I had been going up to a church for a while, right? I
Yeah.
did go to a Presbyterian one. I got a really bad vibe out of those people, to be honest with you. It was creepy.
Well, religion generally is sort of like a voluntary mental illness, to be honest. Let's be frank.
No, what I see it as, it's a prefab moral schema that people adopt.
No, those are
it does-
philosophies.
Well, no, because it's like a poor man's philosophy.
No, religion's really, in most of the cases, they're basically saying you can't do this, can do that, can't do this, can't do that, because God.
Well, baby in bathwater, man. I think that there's a benefit to particular religions when they're just not like fucking way out there. There are
But
good
all of
churches
those
here.
things can be incorporated within a philosophy without requiring a
They
deity at all.
can they can
So
be.
it's not really something that
but-
is actually intrinsic to said religion, is it? Do you know what I mean?
when you're talking about poor uneducated people,
You're
right?
not
They're not
addressing my issue.
They're not gonna sit there and read Locke, my friend.
Have you read Locke?
I haven't even read Locke.
Have you?
I did in high school, a long time ago.
Did you not see that meme? I retweeted
I did
it.
see it. That was the meme.
No, it's basically Carl saying, "Have you read Locke?" And somebody goes, "Have you?"
Yeah, that's. I know, buddy.
There's been a shooting in Louisiana.
Who cares?
Oh god.
I'd say it's news, but it's not really, is it?
It's America. That's what I call it. That's just that's just America.
America.
Oh no, it doesn't fall back.
God damn it. The processor work.
No.
I'm gonna try clicking on the picture or something.
No, well, it's built for YouTube, so.
Oh, I see.
And now I've put it out of. No. I've set all this up so we can actually watch a YouTube video together, and if need be, remark upon said YouTube video.
Okay.
But nobody ever bothers to do that because we never really do that here. But now we can do that here if we want to do that here.
My Glenfiddich is on the way.
You want the Glenfiddich? The Japanese will be dishonored.
Yeah.
You fucked it up, dude.
Micro's happy.
He'll commit hairysoap.
How long until it gets there?
Frankly, I didn't ask.
It's not really what it's on its way to him right now, mate. You know, it's being shot over.
Don't give a damn.
As long as it gets
It'll get here when it gets here. Sorry.
I can't wait till people start doing like suborbital haulage. I think that's the fucking funkiest shit that you could do.
So, speaking about suborbital haulage, Elon Musk's latest rocket just tumbled over because
it's not a rocket.
To build it outside, and they didn't account for the wind, and just toppled over and fell down.
Well, it wasn't really built for anything yet. So they just here's the thing with it. This is the problem with the aesthetics people. The aesthetics people just build it up and then make it so it looks lovely. And then the engineering people are like, "Are you sure about this?" It's like, "Trust me." And then you get this.
It would have
It's
worked
a
just
mock-up.
fine if they were building it inside a bunker like they usually do, but he wanted to put on a show. Like, look at what we're building. And yeah, didn't go well.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. If that,
Well,
Did you
the
guys-
news
did-
and it's like, oh dear.
the idea of
Did you
using
guys-
steel, stainless steel, for fuck's sake, as a cryogenic. It's an interesting idea. Have you seen this, Michael?
What, the rocket?
Yeah, basically the design, they're looking at using stainless steel, a particular brand of stainless steel.
Yeah, I've seen it, and to put it through the test, it sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
and as
Like,
it
I would love
gets-
to see the results.
Yeah, and as it gets super cooled, it gets super hard. So it makes some sense.
Dick joke.
He
Yeah,
really
but
went there.
Did you say it gets...
When it comes
Is
to
it cool to
space
get
and Elon Musk, I think I was watching a Thunderfoot video. I forgot which one, but he decided to throw shade at Elon Musk because, you know, him and Elon Musk, they don't have like the best sort of.
He
one on the- on the
laid down the
Hyperloop?
gauntlet, so he
It's
has to
not
say
a
it.
Hyperloop. No. He claimed that because Elon Musk wants to put a probe around Saturn's rings with a solar sail and have it sail not on the ring, but right outside the gravitational field and just navigate with that sail. And he's like, "No, that can't work because you don't have enough sunlight because you're so far away." And I'm like, I paused the video and started screaming at my screen because, dude, Saturn's rings are ice rocks, and you know what ice does? It reflects a lot of light. There's gonna be abundance of light. Like, they're gonna have to close the sail every now and then just to not get it pushed out of gravitational field or out of orbit. But no, it's far away. It can't get enough light because it's just far away.
I was thinking about this for like imagine a floating city, And the idea is what you're doing is that you're using a solar cell to collect the light that's coming off of the planet, and you have enough light that holds up a small town. So it basically just it can rotate sort of like quite slowly by the rest of the sort of like on a low orbit.
You might need I mean, well, how are you going to convert light into thrust? Or are you going to just like keep is it a suborbital kind of station or sort of city? Kind of like the International Space Station, but on a bigger scale?
Probably something like that. But the idea is to have something in a lower Earth orbit that you can actually get to quite quickly.
I mean, it could work. Could work.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Or something that actually sort of scoots over the top of the atmosphere.
Actually, the best candidate we have to build an orbital
Vadim!
city. Hey, Vadim.
Happy birthday, mate! Happy birthday for the other day. It was his birthday, everybody. Wish him happy birthday. Way!
Happy birthday, everybody! Another year close
Happy birthday.
Woohoo!
Since
Good job, buddy. You made it another year.
Yes.
So we're talking about planets and stuff. So how many times did the Earth orbit the Sun since you were born? I'm not asking
The opposite question.
Somewhere between I don't know, like 33 to 75 times. Somewhere in between there. Not exactly going to say where, but that's for you to determine. For whatever I like. I like to leave it open to interpretation.
33 to 75. So I'll just go in the middle.
Between 33 and 75.
50-plus-year-old man.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what they tell me.
Why are we bringing in the hate? What the hell, man?
Dude, my
don't give over to the dark.
in the Islamic calendar. It's not in the Gregorian calendar. So I was born.
Why
in
do you
the
have
year
to bully people, though,
1401.
Habib? What's wrong with you?
It gets weird sometimes.
I did not realize that Islam has. I guess that makes sense because, BC is totally Christian-driven, right? So BC and AD. So
I think Saudi Arabia and Iran are the only countries left that still use it as an official calendar.
That's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I was born in the 1400s. It's like, Jesus, you're like 600 years old. No, that's the year of our prophet. It's like, okay, so why do you use a cell phone? They didn't have, cell phones in the 1400s. That's for you pig dogs. It's like, okay.
So have you guys talked about the cancer that is the Never Bernie hashtag on Twitter? You guys
Never Bernie.
Not never.
Catchy.
Yeah, they're saying don't vote for Bernie because he's too released.
The Dem primaries, dude, are fucking brutal. Holy shit.
It's either don't vote for him because he's old. There's a lot of that. That's practically every tweet will throw that in there. Then there's plenty of people who will take statements where he's blatantly, obviously calling for people to look beyond things like race and gender and vote for actual policies, which I think is actually like an anti-racist way of looking at the world. And they'll
that
try
seems
to
quite nice.
construe that as racism or sexism.
Wait,
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of old, right? Though.
wait, are the Democratic primaries happening already then?
They might as well be.
People are throwing their hat in the ring, and it seems like Bernie is about to make a big announcement. Yeah, he's old, but he's also way sharper than a lot of the candidates still that are around, and I think he's got a lot of vitality for his age. I think that's
right now the odds are on Joe Biden taking it, but there's been a lot of fear after Kamala Harris. She's been getting a lot of
Yeah,
pickup.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden is better than Harris in my opinion. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think this goes without saying. I'd love to see a female president. I would wholeheartedly endorse Warren, even though that I prefer Bernie. But Harris is just filled with these empty platitudes that are incredibly reminiscent of.
Not a fan of Harris at all.
The BS that you know.
I don't know why people like her.
That Clinton was quite as bad as a lot of people made her out to be. She was not great. I was not super enthusiastic about her, but yeah, there were a lot of empty rhetoric from her. Not enough focus on policy, and it just seems like the same shit with Kamala Harris.
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris is in the same vein as like Cory Booker, and they're the showboats of the Democrat Party, dude. I don't like any of those people, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't like them. Booker's probably my least favorite because on top of kind of being just total neo-lib, he has the spine of a fucking chick tract, and he is just boring as a cardboard box.
The only thing he knows how to do is get up on his soapbox and grandstand. I mean, that's all he does. I mean, he's a big talker.
Wow.
He does it very often in a very whiny way. I've seen these clips where people are like, "Oh, he's challenging this Republican," and it's just so, I don't know. It always screams of like, "Hey, look at me! I'm challenging this." It looks
box rage.
He's trying to do to like gain points, and it just doesn't seem sincere. I don't know. I mean, way better than Trump. I'll back any of these people wholeheartedly if they get the nomination, but. Yeah, I'd like to avoid those people because I just think that we might have a rerun of 2016 if we.
Why?
Do you know? Has anyone?
Why would you support Warren then?
Here's a question.
Here's what you do.
Warren is demonstrably more progressive than just about anyone besides Bernie that's running.
Okay, here's what you do. Fuck the primaries, Bernie is the candidate, period. Oh, but then fuck that shit. Last time you fucked it up, no more primaries. You're just gonna have Bernie and you're just...
They can't just change... They can't just... Yeah.
You know, look,
it's not really how it works, see?
The way I look at it is that even if he loses... and is part of the primaries, that's an excellent thing because between him and Warren, who I'll admit is not Bernie, you know, is not as progressive and has more downsides than Bernie. Just him being there and other progressive candidates. You know, I think it will drive the whole conversation to the left, which is where it needs to go right now. I
got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, are you a registered Democrat?
Yeah.
What do you think of the superdelegates?
Oh, I think that that whole system should really be rehauled. I think it's
okay.
BS. I think that it kind of really it goes against what it was put in place in order to subvert what should be the democratic process, and it's a shame. And yeah, I mean, but then you can get into a lot of things like I also think that the whole system that allows for fucking Hillary did win with 3 million more votes, and yet we have that Cheeto face fit for brains joke in the White House right now. So
not a fan of direct democracy, though. That's mob rule in my opinion. I don't think that there's a way around.
I don't think that's mob rule. I think that's equal representation.
Different states have different interests and different needs, man. That's why we have
Yeah,
That's
but they
why
have lower populations, and they may have different needs, but like the idea that even a like a small state that is blue, that is thoroughly blue, like Vermont, I don't believe that it should have an equal say to that of California. I just think that that's sort of nutty, you know. I mean, that's I've heard the arguments that one can make, and I respect them. I don't think that they're totally full of shit, but that's how I look at it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
defending the Electoral College on simply the basis that it helps Republicans is a bad argument. But if you look at the alternative, if we went to a direct vote, I mean, then essentially what California decides is going to just happen every election. You know, it shouldn't be that way. You know, I don't want the country being ruled by whoever has the most people in it. You know, like whatever state has the most people in it.
With purely landmass, and you know, something that
goes by population.
Superficial, then I would be with you. You know, like if Antarctica became part of the United States and had, you know, that would you not find that ridiculous that it had that with like a population of probably less than 10,000 people?
Yeah, but the amount of electoral votes you get is directly proportional to the number of people in the state. That's how it works.
You also have equal representation in the Senate, and that really skews things.
We can talk about the Senate if you want. I don't like how the Senate's working either.
I have a question. If the number of votes in the Electoral College is based on population, then what's the fucking point then? Shouldn't it be like every state gets like 5 votes and that's it? Not just like, oh, Texas gets 100.
No, because that wouldn't be fair to California that has such a high population density.
Then what's the fucking point then? You know, oh, but if we go by population, that's one rule. What's the point of the Electoral College? If everybody's meant to be equal, then 5 votes apiece. Done.
Yeah, it's because we have a representative democracy, and the reason we have that is because the states were meant to be semi-autonomous. Beholden to the federal government,
and that was back when, you know, our founding fathers were slave owners, and you know,
what does that have to do with it?
And shot muskets instead of machine guns and shit.
But it's still the same today, though. The issues of West Virginia are different from the issues of Silicon Valley, man. I mean, that's the reason we have it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I find funny about game?
Again, I understand the reasoning. I just truly believe that a representative democracy represents the true voice of the people, and if you had an opposite situation, even though that I would not be happy about it, where you know where a Republican won vastly more votes, yet a Democrat won, I would reluctantly say that's messed up as well. So you know, I wouldn't suddenly switch my outlook on it.
Sure.
I think should be overall.
The problem with the Constitution is it can never be replaced.
I think we should have term limits for SCOTUS judges as well. So
everybody keeps saying that. Do you think that's a good idea? Because
absolutely,
honestly, you know, the reason that, well, first of all, the Supreme Court was never meant to have as much power as it does. But at the same time, my opinion is we should be scaling that back instead of trying to like correct it from where it is now. That's my opinion. Rather than put term limits on them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can expand on that. I'd be open to the argument, but I'd just like to elaborate real quick and say that the reason why I like that idea is because what you'd have is that you'd have a system where, you know, with each election exactly it would correspond to the time that, you know, the presidents are running, and you would know when certain, a number of seats were up for replacement. So I mean, ideally, it would incentivize people to go out and vote. And maybe it wouldn't, because people are very ignorant and they don't realize kind of how important some, those nominations are. But
I'll be honest with you. When voting comes around every 2 years, I don't vote on my judges. I can't be fucked. There's like fucking 30 of them on the ballot, and you're supposed to go and look and see whether like they're doing their jobs correctly, and I don't have time. I don't care. I don't vote on the judges.
You guys have way too much democracy.
Do you not have any concerns that your judges are political appointments? As opposed to legal representatives, which is what they should be.
I'm more concerned about Congress than I am about the judges we have. Plus, you're not voting for them. What you do on the ballot is you can vote against them, essentially. If you want to vote them out, you can vote them out, and if they hit a high enough threshold, then they come up for referendum, essentially. And I can't be fucked to do it. I really can't. I care more about Congress, to be honest.
That's understandable when it comes to a kind of lower level judges, but even though they do wield power and whatnot, but I understand, like, you can't spend 24 hours a day just kind of
monitoring these people.
Everything.
I can't.
But SCOTUS judges are the most powerful judges in the land, so that's something that's a little different.
Well, here's the thing: is that Congress could always get more active in policing the decisions that the Supreme Court makes, and they could remove people. They do have that ability. A lot of people don't know that.
They have
they have the ability to. Yeah, they can impeach a SCOTUS judge. Absolutely, and remove them if they want to.
Interesting.
Oh, but doesn't the president get a veto over the impeachment if?
Yeah, they do.
Like it? Okay, and can you see the problem now?
Well, when we have,
let's impeach this guy.
Okay. Under normal circumstances, right? When we have somebody reasonable in the presidency, yes, they have the ability to do that. Now, it's not happened in our history because impeaching someone is a very unpopular thing to do, whether it's the president or a SCOTUS judge or whoever the fuck. I mean, it's not a popular thing to do.
I'm gonna say this: only fools or people with political agendas don't want a wall or street barrier to protect our country from crime, drugs, and human trafficking.
But my wall.
The wall.
I mean, my main problem with the wall is that you're just basically bottling up all that discontent in Latin America, and that's just going to make them implode.
May I ask you,
refugee crisis.
Mycroft, may I ask you? Do you think that there is a migration issue at the border?
Yes, I do, and I say that living in a border state. Yes.
Okay. So, and you see obviously a lot of that going on, yeah.
You actually can. If you go down to the southern border in Arizona, you can see we posted signs that you can't go into particular parts of the desert because of human trafficking. It's a known issue, dude.
Right.
It's a known issue.
Right. I would have no problem with erecting a wall if it was like not a total money hole, and
I
mean there are plenty of.
What about walling up Arizona at least?
Saying that it not only would it be extremely ineffective, but that it would take, like, literally it wouldn't be able to be built, not just during Trump's presidency if he lived his full, or rather, served his full 8 years, but over the course of his entire life, it probably would not be erected, and the costs would be far more than have been projected. And people have shown that you can saw right through it in 10 years.
Well, exactly. But this is the thing: is that the only way that a physical barrier makes sense is if you're using other technology to basically monitor that barrier. So what the barrier can actually do is slow people down from crossing the border. So if you have a camera on that piece of the fence or whatever the fuck you're building, right? You can see when people are trying to cross, because they come in large groups, right? And that's the barrier itself will slow them down to the point where you can get Border Patrol out there to pick them up, right? That's the only reason. That's the only reason it makes sense. The wall itself, just putting a fucking wall up in the fucking desert isn't going to do shit. It's not going to do shit. Everybody fucking knows that.
There's all sorts of ways that like within 10 years, which is longer than which is a shorter period than the period that it would take to actually erect the wall. Actually, there's going to be drones that allow people to literally fly over the wall and shit like that. What?
Well, I'm just saying we already have. This is the funny thing. A lot of people don't know. We already have these. We already have drones up in the air 24/7 in Arizona monitoring the border. They're ineffective though, because as soon as they take a snapshot of somebody on the ground, right, by the time Border Patrol gets out there, they're already gone. They're already somewhere else, and we don't know where the fuck they went. That's the problem with just having a drone-only approach. The physical barriers do work if you have something else that then can show you when somebody's actually bumped up against that barrier.
But then you're talking
with
about
a shotgun.
You're talking about both. I mean, that's just even more money that we're sinking into this thing, and I would argue that the returns that we get financially as a result of doing all of this are not, No,
I agree. Well, this is all political, dude. This is all about Trump, and the thing is that if we wanted to fix this issue, it's very simple. You send money to fucking Mexico. You say, hey, Mexico, you got a problem with a whole bunch of people coming through your country. Can you fix that? And Obrador's already doing that. Obrador?
I think it's not just sending money. You also have to help them get rid of
because
it helps a big problem.
The idea is to help the government build programs down there that actually keeps those people in Mexico, because Mexico does actually need workers right now. We don't. The U.S. doesn't. But in Mexico, they do need those workers. Obrador's already given visa programs, and then also he's talking about raising the minimum wage down in Mexico. Having a socialist on your southern border is actually quite nice, to be honest.
Yeah, but, I mean, the problem is
that's where the change will come from.
I think the big problem is that you're giving a lot of money to a really, really corrupt government with a lot of cartels in it. So if you give it to the cartels, then maybe we'll see. Okay, we're because you never know.
See, the thing about Mexico is they go through cycles of having corrupt assholes in there. So like Vicente Fox was legit. Nieto was an asshole, and I could have fucking told you that. Nieto this came out recently. Nieto took like fucking $1 million or $100 million bribe somewhere around, I don't remember what the exact number was. This is a lot of money from El Chapo. This is just come out recently. He might come up on charges.
The guy that dug himself out of his own prison.
Yeah, but Obrador is the new guy in power there. He's a quasi-socialist guy. He's talking about making Mexico great again.
You know what? I mean,
barriers don't work. They haven't been proven to work. There's no evidence indicating that these things are going to work, especially on the scale that's being proposed at this point in time.
But that's a really myopic way to look at it. You have to look at what they do.
No, it's a realistic and pragmatic.
No, you have to look at specifically why they work in particular areas and why they don't work in other areas. You do actually have to.
One of the reasons why it's untenable is because of the vast area of space that it goes through. And you know, I mean, like people compare it to the wall in Israel, which is a
Shenanigans.
tiny wall compared to what we're creating.
Yes.
Plus, there's all this privately owned land, all this public land that would have to be just seized in order to do this. So it's just like there's that too. There's farmland. There's all sorts of ways that it's just like, come on, dude, you're really gonna do
I'm
this?
a fan. You're right. I'm a fan of building the wall where the communities on the border want to build the wall, like down in Yuma. And like places that are more near to the border in Arizona, if they want a wall, I think they should get a wall. I'm totally fine with that, especially if Border Patrol is saying that they need that. Border Patrol, the people on the ground, the people that actually do the job every day, are saying we need a fucking barrier. I'm not going to ignore that. That's silly.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, I'd have to investigate it. I'm not saying that this is actually the case, but I'm skeptical that because they have their own interests, and they may not necessarily be authorities. They may not necessarily be honest actors.
That's true. This could be true. I don't know. I honestly, I think that if Border Patrol is acting nefariously or whatever, they'd probably be vying for pay raises or something. I don't know why they would be asking for a border wall. I mean,
I just, you know, I have no problem with money being allocated to strengthening the security in various other ways. It's just when you literally have engineers, adjunct professors who are looking at the proposed plans that we have and saying that it's an absolute structural mess, that it will take ages, and that it will far exceed the amount that has been projected, which, by the way, is created by people who are trying to get the jobs in the first place, and of course they're going to lowball it for that reason. I just think it's just like sort of an unreasonable question. But okay, if you're saying like certain regions where, but then it's just like they're just going to go other places and they're going to find ways to subvert that wall. That I think,
of course, it's a temporary solution. This is why I say we have to look to Mexico.
You say solution and I say waste of money, because I mean you could use that money for
it's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket, man. Like putting up a wall is not an expensive thing.
You could do something like ridiculous like that, or you could like put scales, install them over at checks, and the
ports of entry. The ports of entry are also garbage, by the way.
hey, Mycroft, have you heard of a thing called a ladder?
Hey.
I haven't heard that before. Because like right now, if you're looking towards
battery-operated grinder,
if you're looking to stop drugs from coming into the country, you just you get a database and a list of like all the vehicles. You get their intended weight, more or less, and you have a car stop on the scale. It shows you the weight. And usually they're going to be adding like an extra 300 pounds of drugs on it. So that's one way you could stop it. Another way you can stop illegal immigration is actually look where the problem of illegal immigration stems from, which is expired visas, which is the majority of the people who overstay their welcome in the United States of America.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the visa people. If you get a visa, here's the thing about that, because I hear that argument a lot. The people who are on visas have already gone through a background check. We already know who they are. To get a visa, you actually have to go through a shit ton of fucking background stuff. I'm not worried about those people. I don't care if they overstay. They want to stay and they want to fucking worry about the fucking immigration board. That's their fucking business. I don't give a shit. That's not who I'm concerned about.
Hey Pascal, did you see that tweet that with that scientist analyzing the claims of needing the wall?
No, but that's kind of like the issue that I have. I mean, the whole reason illegal immigration is a problem is because of the supply shock that it creates to the United States of America. But one seventh of the United States population is currently undocumented workers. And the people that's going to be impacting...
20 million of 330. Those numbers don't sound right.
Okay, well, how many? It's 23 million?
We have 330 million people here, and 20 million are undocumented. That's not 1/7. I don't know. How many people is that? I don't even know.
By 320?
0.06. Yeah, that's not 1/7, but
I thought it was 1/7.
No, it's 20. We have about 20 million is the high estimate too. It could be lower than that. We don't know. I mean, how do you can't track that obviously, but 20 million is the Fox News estimate. It's probably closer to 10. So
I'm gonna link you something in the sidebar with a scientist because she's been shut down from the government. She's got time on her hands, so she just analysed if it's viable to put the wall up. So she did a whole long tweet thread. It was really interesting. You should read it.
Yeah, but I mean, what I want to just again put out there is that the solution here does not come at our border. The solution comes with Mexico, and
yeah, I agree.
How we fix this is by setting up a better situation in Mexico for the migrants that are coming in, because the thing is that if you're coming from Guatemala or fucking Honduras, if you can make your primary stop in Mexico and you don't have to fucking walk all the way up through Mexico to California or whatever the fuck. Number one, all the people that are dying during that are going to stop dying, obviously, because they're going to get to the Mexican border and they're going to be able to get a job or housing or whatever, and they're going to be able to feed and fucking water themselves, right? That's the solution. Is you gotta figure out how to make it more hospitable for Mexico to take these people in, and then once they become Mexicans, if they want to come up to the U.S., my liquor's here. I'll be right back.
Okay. Ooh. This is my plan. So.
You want to table a motion?
Yeah. The first thing that the United States needs to do is to address the problem of illegal immigrants in its own house, because these individuals and idealistically I would like there to be no lines in the sand. People can come and go as they please, but unfortunately we live in a capitalistic environment. We have lines in the sand that were drawn like a long time ago, and it's going to create an impact towards the U.S. economy. Most importantly, it's going to have an impact towards poor people, like black people, because they're disproportionately poorer than white people in the United States of America, and their wages are going to be hurt by individuals who are staying undocumented like that. So we need a path to citizenship for these individuals.
Is that I'm not saying you're wrong, but I know you're a fan of Destiny, and of course he's not infallible. I heard him talking with someone, and he said that he had not seen a legitimate data point that really substantiates that illegal immigration substantially lowers wages. So I guess I'm asking, have you seen proof of this? I'm not disputing what you say. I would just like to have it confirmed one way or the other. You don't have to show me right now. You could show me another time.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a couple of documents on this. One of them was actually something that was done over at the Bureau of Labor, and they were looking, and this was in Obama era. They were looking at the impacts of illegal immigration, and let's see if I can find it. It's really fucking long too. Like, it's just pages and pages and pages in regards to the impact of immigration on the United States of America. Not just immigration, but illegal immigration specifically. So I'll put that in the side chat. And this is something that I really wanted to talk to Steven about on his show, because I don't think he's giving the supply shock argument its fair shake. And I just think it's because, you know, he hasn't seen the evidence for this. And it's something that I'm looking to bring to his attention. So there's a lot of factors that goes into what happens to an economy in these kinds of situations. So those are things that you need to sort of necessarily take into consideration. That one is not conclusive evidence that this is occurring. It's just saying that there is a problem right now, and these are the likely causes of it, and they need more analysis into the situation in order to be able to make like actual determinations and that sort of thing. But I don't think that this situation is tenable to have, like, you know, 11 million people in your country that are undocumented. That's like ridiculous.
He's got better, isn't he?
So my path to citizenship would be as follows. You get a data sample of how many people are currently undocumented in the United States. You get their average wage, and you bump it up to, let's say, a comfortable level that would be under the minimum wage, yet it would be at that particular level. So at least they're getting the same amount of money. They get to stay within the country, and their next of kin become full citizens, so that it will sort of stagnate the kind of impact that it could have. Like, let's say you were to give them all social security numbers. Like, that could have a huge impact in regards of the job market, and it would just be a catastrophe, in my opinion. And this is something that economist Adam Pawson has spoken about in relation to the EU and the migrant crisis there, in terms of what needs to happen. I'm well aware of the social impacts that it could have in terms of having like a two-tier kind of a population. But I mean, we're here at this point in time. We have 11 million people that are currently there. The second thing that you need to do is you need to ensure that people that are coming from Mexico and El Salvador and Honduras stop coming, because if you ship them out, all they're going to do is they're going to get back home, they're going to be in these like uncomfortable situations, and they're just going to make the attempt again. So what needs to happen in those areas, and because we have gravity with them, and Canada should help with this too, considering we're all trading partners, try to bolster the Mexican economy, get the corruption out of that particular environment, and you know, sort of push towards getting the drug cartels under control, because that is one of the reasons why it's extremely dangerous in these places right now. Because they'll just buy politicians, they'll buy bankers. Like they'll go to a local bank, and I was looking at this in one of the Netflix's specials, and they'll give the banker pictures of his family, and he'll say, okay, well, you're gonna deposit this money, or else, you know, something might happen. So of course the banker is going to, you know, deposit the bank, and that gets funded through HSNBC. I think it's HSBC.
HSBC. I've seen that documentary.
Yeah. So those are the people that are aiding and abetting these criminals, and they've been
but they're good customers
to do this. And the United States government did absolutely nothing to the bankers that were responsible for this. Just give them a slap on the wrist.
I'm sorry. I have to. You guys will appreciate this. You know, after the Trump caved on the shutdown, the entire MAGA crowd lost their fucking minds. They lost their minds. He caved. It's all over. Like they've been going fucking crazy. I was just in a server. I was just looking at a server, and they're literally literally telling people in the server to start stocking up on reserves because America is gonna fall.
Wow.
I told you. This is why I've named this the title of this return fire at the Peanut Gallery, because they're just this is the rebound.
So MAGA fans are now preppers.
They are being preppers now. I've heard this is the funny thing. This is the funny thing. I've heard some of these people basically make the argument that, well, we can't stop the socialists now because Trump caved on the border security issue. So now we're just gonna have to become accelerationists, and we're just gonna have to like vote Bernie 100% just so that we can eventually crash everything into the ground, and then maybe we can build anew. Like, that's how ridiculous these people are being.
Wow.
Have you heard that Bernie's going up for 2020 now?
Well, you know what? I guess Bernie just got a whole bunch of new voters. I don't know.
I'd rather he not.
A lot of these.
I really doubt when push comes to shove that most of those people will actually vote for Bernie. I think that they'll just vote MAGA again.
I'm sure they will.
Reluctantly. Reluctantly.
Just to trigger the libs.
They're being ridiculous.
Retarded. No, you misspelled retarded.
I think my favorite out of all of the whiners is Ann Coulter. Like hearing.
Oh my God!
Somebody made a case for her presidency. What the fuck, America? Look, it was bad enough with Bush. Okay, fair enough. Now Trump. Whoa. I think, if you're going to put Ann Coulter in, I'm going to have to perform an intervention.
Is she just a newsreader or a newsreader? Is she in any way a politician? Is she like Trump, essentially?
No, she's not she's just a public personality. Right,
so she is like Trump, essentially.
Although she has bragged recently about supposedly, of course, Alex Jones said this as well, and he was probably full of shit, but she claimed that she has been kind of coaching him behind the scenes quite often in several talks that they've had over the course of his presidency. But now, since he caved on all of this, she like she said last night on Bill Maher, not that I watched it, I just read about it, that that she was wrong about Trump, that she was really stupid, that so when you have people like her kind of starting to rebel against you, I think that's kind of like the what would you call it, the death knell for a presidency.
Well, she's essentially trying to ring the bell for his base, right? And like I said, a lot of the people that now obviously the people that are on the internet do not represent all of America, but from what I've seen anyway, and the traffic I've seen on Twitter, highly unpopular move for Trump to back down on this. Even though I don't know what else he was supposed to fucking do, but they're very demoralized right now. So that I guarantee you that once you knock somebody like Trump off a pedestal for a moment, that they're going to look to the next person down the rung, which is going to be somebody like Ann Coulter, because she's
that's the level that they're at this point.
I have to say, Sam Cedar made a.
Do you know what?
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Who's next? David Rubin?
No, I'm just saying. Like,
that's all they've got.
They look at I'm gonna collect my thoughts. I have something to say. I just haven't put it together yet. But go ahead.
What?
Sorry,
Very good. No. No. That's ridiculous.
Okay, I'm not. Am I supposed to make my Sam Cedar point, or
Sam Cedar away? Has he invited you on yet?
Point you want, buddy.
No. I just think it's interesting. He made a prediction that the moment that Trump would cave is when it starts affecting air traffic controllers, and that's exactly what happened days before he finally caved, air traffic controllers were starting to signal that they were, or not just controllers, but people in aviation in general were signaling that that they were not going to be able to do their jobs and whatnot. And that is, I mean, it was a smart call on his part. That is sort of like, you know, just when like the transportation system, because the thing is that rich people get affected by that, and so when you start when the rich people start getting affected by it, that's when they realize, oh shit, okay, this really something really is
Susan is upset.
And
well, that's air traffic control. That's one side of it. The FAA and the issue with LaGuardia having to shut down that one airport or whatever for a brief moment of time. That happened at the same time that he made the decision to lift the shutdown for 3 weeks. But one thing I will say, though, is that there's some truth to the argument, and I think what you're probably going to see out of Trump right now, because let's not forget, Trump is a petty asshole, okay? And he is probably
the guy you voted
doing
for.
this. He is probably doing this because this is going to open up the opportunity for him to do another State of the Union. We'll do his State of the Union, where he's going to shit all over Pelosi, and then we could be back in the same situation in about 3 weeks. Now,
do you think he'll
I've been following Trump very closely for a long time, and I can guarantee you that is exactly in his character to do something like that. So just be on the lookout for that.
Well, do you think he's going to declare a state of emergency?
After 3 weeks, if he gets nowhere, probably will. That's his the state of the emergency thing is something that he's been reticent to do, and I think the reason is because he knows that it's going to be a huge fucking nightmare for him to deal with, like the presidents, because they're going to get sued the fuck out of if they do that.
Yeah, it's not a national emergency. I mean, I'm sorry, maybe it's a situation that needs to be addressed, but elevating it to the level of a national emergency is just
doesn't qualify for a national emergency. I'm with you there.
Stupid. And there's at least 6 or 7 things that I could name, rattle off the top of my head, that are more that qualify more as an emergency than that.
Okay, have you ever known Trump to play by the rules?
No, I am not disputing what you're saying. Yes, he's a nitwit, and he very well might do something.
He's a petty asshole, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm saying is just that's the likely out. As far as him actually going through with the emergency route, I think that's his ace in the sleeve. If he has to go that route, he will, and he's using that as basically a political bludgeon against people on the left. Like, don't make me do this because I will. And
so just amazing the level of people who were calling Hillary Clinton, and maybe she had some these tendencies. Maybe there's an argument to be made for this. But those who called her an authoritarian, and then moves like that, coupled with so many other things like his blatantly anti-free speech rhetoric and so much. I mean, the dude is way more of an authoritarian than she ever would have been.
Both can be true at the same time, buddy. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, well,
don't side with the neoliberal just because you hate Trump. That's a silly thing to do.
I'm not saying, like, again, I was not a huge Hillary Clinton fan. I think that she, her detractors, I think she's not quite as bad as a lot of her detractors made her out to be. But yeah, there are significant. I mean, she should not have run.
Do you know what made me vote for Trump? And I'll be honest with you, I did.
Oh, you voted
to
Trump.
hell with the lesser evil is
I
probably.
know. I have. Here's
Knowing
why.
you as I do, I reckon it's to hell with the idea of a lesser evil.
No, let me tell you a story about Hillary Clinton. Oh, right. The whole Benghazi
you mean
thing.
the story that you tell yourself?
No, this is a true story. She when the Benghazi thing went down, she went home early that day. She went home at 4 o'clock. Well, a man that she knew was dying brutally. She had the fast-ready team of a fast-ready team of Marines that she could have sent into Benghazi. She had a general who turned around an entire aircraft carrier to rain down hell on Benghazi if he needed to, and she said nothing. She just let that happen.
Benghazi was several times investigated by mostly Republican-led committees. Like, I think somewhere between 5 to 7 times, and although they found that there were things that she could have done better, there was no there were no indictments. There were no it's just Benghazi of all things, making that into an issue is just, I mean, there are much better ways to criticize that woman.
But this is where I built my character assessment of her, is just that when that happened and she did nothing and she went home early that day, I'm sorry, like after that I was just like, no, I'm done. I can't vote for you. You're a terrible fucking person in my mind. Like somebody who's capable of doing that.
Trump, who basically tries to demolish homes of people that around this golf course because there's lot different.
That's a lot different than somebody
who literally campaigned on getting rid of the EPA, believes climate change is a Chinese hoax, is possibly even more so than George W. Bush, the most anti-science and conspiracy theory loving we've ever had.
All of
it's cutting off your nose to spite your fucking face, dude.
Even through all of that, I still can't vote for somebody like Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, the Dems just put up a bad candidate. They did. That's not somebody I can vote for. No way.
But Trump is. You went, I know, Hillary's awful. I know, I'll go with this guy. That's better. Explain.
Well, because I don't see the U.S. presidency as an end-all be-all. It's a component in our government, and
so you
putting
went
up
with
Trump for 4 years is fine to me, as long as
Well, then what would have been the problem with electing Hillary then?
We have we already have SCOTUS appointees that are going to negatively impact our country for decades, and we may have a third.
I don't know if I believe that.
That alone is an absolute disaster.
No, you can.
And the writing was on the wall with that one.
You can. I don't know if I believe, as far as the SCOTUS appointments, I don't know if I believe that. Kavanaugh had the option to bring up defunding Planned Parenthood, and he didn't do it. Gorsuch, you could probably make a better argument toward
so you expect these people to be 100% honest on the stand, and we already know that he told demonstrable lies while he was on the stand about certain things. So I mean, I don't know, I think that's pretty naive to expect that the dude's going to be honest about matters like that.
Well, I mean, number one, demonstrable lies. I mean, God, we're gonna have to go back through Kavanaugh now. What do you think of Gorsuch?
I think Gorsuch is also extremely right-wing. I mean, Trump was purposely putting SCOTUS judges on the Supreme Court that are pro-life, that will vote for pro-life. If
you could make this same. You can make the same argument about Elena Kagan and her left-wing opinions.
Yeah, I know, but her left-wing opinions, as far as I know, are not going to kind of violate rights that really should be federally protected. So
do you want to? Well, that's a question in and of itself, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's definitely an argument you can debate, but I mean, the alternative is like a nightmare. You're going to have people who, I mean, like you prohibit abortion, you're not going to have less abortions. You're just going to have people having unsafe abortions. They're going to die as a result of them. In some states, they might even be tried.
Well, hang on a sec.
Murder. You know,
hang on a sec. The Supreme Court doesn't have the ability, based on court precedent, to illegalize or make abortion something that a person can seek out, even if they were to overturn Roe v. Wade, which every legal scholar that I've listened to, even the Republicans, say that it's settled law at this point. There's nothing that's going to overturn Roe v. Wade at this point. Even if they did somehow do that, that just kicks it back to the states. They're not legalizing it.
And I don't accept that line of reasoning. I mean, again, I think that that is a protection that everyone in all 50 states should have. And again, you're going to have, if you do that to the states that people who are just unfortunate enough and who are poor, so poor that they can't get out of those states in order to get abortions, you're going to have people, but you're going to have two effects. You're going to have people giving birth who cannot take care of their children properly, and you're also going to have people giving themselves abortions. Often they're going to die as a result of it. Sometimes they're going to be rushed to the hospital, incur hospital bills that they probably won't be able to pay, and in some cases they'll even be tried as murderers for having done so. That's
okay. So you made 4 points there.
To me, that's incredibly un-American, and it's like a nightmare.
Okay. Right. You made 4 points there. Let's back up through them for a second here. First of all, now the coat hanger abortion thing is a myth. Do you know that?
No, I do not believe that's the case, because there have been studies of third world countries that have banned.
No, but like in the U.S. though,
and the rate of self-abortion has been shown to go up. So I don't see why you would not have desperate people in America doing.
That's a false attribution, though. In the U.S., there have been plenty of states for a long period of time where abortion has been entirely illegal, and you don't see those numbers in those states. You don't see it happening. It's a myth in the U.S. Now, could it happen? Could it happen?
I can't prove
Maybe.
that right now, but I'm skeptical.
Oh, shut up!
Mycroft, could you just show me the stats where they accurately collect the information that talks about illegal abortions?
I can look it up for you if you want. I've looked through this actually pretty rigorously, because I'm trying to. I used to be very pro-choice when I was a kid. I was very pro-choice, and now I've started to move towards the pro-life side of the argument.
You're such a swinger.
Just, even let's say you're correct, you're still forcing these women who do not want to have children to be incubators for children that they don't want to have, and that's just it's just.
And Vadim, can I just say something? Can I just say something that it's not just annoying that they want to ban abortion; they also want to restrict contraceptives. I'm like,
yes.
So you want to restrict?
I don't want.
I'm not saying you.
Mycroft,
I'm not saying you, Mycroft. I'm saying these fucking religious nutbags in your country that are saying we want to ban abortion, but we also don't want to teach kids sex. We also don't want them to have contraceptives. I'm like, so you just don't want to prevent anything. You just think that the best cure is just doesn't happen. I'm like thinking, are you just projecting 2,000 years of biology because your imaginary friend is telling you that, oh, don't worry, if you put the pee-pee in there, it's not gonna have baby? It's like, what?
Absolutely. The states with the highest teen pregnancy rates are the states that have abstinence-only education programs, and it's just like it's so backwards in so many ways.
Yeah, I would be fine if they would be saying, okay, we don't like abortion, but we're gonna make damn sure people know what the fuck sex is, how contraceptive works.
Yeah.
Because at least then it's like, okay, it's definitely their fault. Like we gave them the entire education, we gave them the tools to prevent this, and they just didn't care. It's their fault. But when you just take away the prevention and you take away the education, then what? Excuse me, how is this supposed to work again?
It doesn't have to be that hard line. I don't know why people take it to such an extreme. You got
people like Jesse Lee Peterson who was interviewing a guy, and this guy phoned up and basically said, I've been in a relationship with this woman who's had a kid out of a rape, and he was like, well, I'm not sure I should be with this person because of I don't know if I should take it seriously with her or not, but we've had 3 years together and we really like each other. And then Jesse Lee Peterson turns around and goes, well, are you the father though? And he goes, no. And Jesse Lee Peterson was basically saying stuff like, well, if you're not the real father, then you shouldn't be with her because he's a bastard. And that kind of mentality and attitude towards the idea of the whole pro-life stuff, it just sends chills down my spine, because you shouldn't break someone up because if they've been in an unfortunate incident that they had no control over, and then they had to give birth to that kid because they were in a religious society, and then this religious nutwit.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. The religious nutwit Jesse Lee Peterson is telling this guy to go to leave her alone, and that he needs to find the relationship with his rapist father.
Beta, beta cock.
PB, the number one issue that black males are experiencing, or black families are experiencing right now, are single households. Do you love black people?
Oh god, the Destiny shit. Fucking hell.
Do you love black people, Minecraft? Do you love black people?
Why do you hate?
I don't love people based on what group they're a part of. Man, I don't.
Right. Do you love black people in Minecraft? I love black people.
I don't. It depends on.
I love everybody.
Individually.
But you get what I'm saying, Mycroft, about being pro-life. When you got that situation, you get people.
I hear your point, and I'll be honest with you. I don't think that I could raise my arguments about when a person is a person, and I don't think they're going to be well received here. But I have a different view.
Jesse Lee Peterson was calling that guy looking after that woman's kid a cuck.
I don't think that anybody has...
I don't care about Jesse. Who cares about Jesse Lee Peterson?
No, I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that phone into a show and listen to him, as well as.
Okay, well, I'm not a lot of people, buddy. So you have to drop that one on the doorstep.
No, I'm just saying, for the sake of argument, there is a lot of people out there who have the same beliefs that he does. In America,
I'm sure there are plenty of people who couch their entire argument against abortion on because God. Yes, they exist. They're real. Now, you're not talking to one of those people, so I don't understand why you're bringing up that argument.
I'm not bringing it up. I'm not bringing it up to hold it against you personally. I'm bringing it up to state that there's a lot of people out there that hold these beliefs and use that as a pro-choice argument, and then
I know there are a lot of religious people in the US. It's probably 50%. Do they all believe that though? Do they all believe that? Because I've met a lot of fucking religious people who are actually pro-abortion.
I think ethically both are inconsistent. You have the sort of Republican or conservative position that believes that they're pro-life, yet the second the baby is born, that's when they abandon it. And the Democrats' position, from an ethical perspective, decides to abandon it at the beginning. But everything beyond that point in time, they decide to, you know, help and try to support them throughout their life. So they're both hypocrites from an ethical standpoint.
That's true. Pascal's actually right here. Lena.
Oh, I just thought.
Either way,
No, but that's dismissing the ethical nature.
No, thanks for nobody asking.
No, that dismisses the ethical nature of abortion.
Well, do you want to have that conversation?
Of course.
we can have that conversation.
Of course. What's more likely?
I'll give you my position, and you guys can
we live in a planet where 7 billion people exist. The idea of choosing as and when you would like to have a child. What's the unimportant?
My argument is this: as soon as the sperm enters the egg and there is new DNA that is a human being, and they have the same rights that I would grant to any American citizen. That's my position.
So sperm citizens.
So why would you sacrifice the 7 billionth in one child versus the 7 billionth one? What's your ethical argument?
So, hang on. What's the question exactly? Can you?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking Robin.
No,
okay.
In this case, I don't really care. I don't really give a shit about it, one number or the other.
Okay.
While you were asking,
you just lost the ethical argument.
While you were asking me
Good
that,
job.
While you were asking me that,
I'm a cradle to grave sort of person on.
While
humans,
you were asking me that question,
no,
probably about 2 people.
To grave.
While you were asking me that,
I think
shut up!
People need to work. Yeah, sorry.
While you were asking me that, probably about 5 people have died from some preventable disease. I can't hold everything up. It's not my job.
Okay, but you were making an ethical argument within the context.
As far as people dying unnecessarily in this world, that's happening at a rate of knots.
Right, and people are not making any prescribed, you know.
This is not produced
for that.
This is merely not producing.
I totally agree with that. However, you're making an ethical argument, and in order to make an ethical argument, you need to have some form of consistency, some construction within that particular framework. And your argument was in relation to the amount of people that were on planet
there's
Earth.
enough people on this world. It's not like it matters.
Was what about the child that is +1?
Fuck that guy.
Why does that person get to die versus the other person who gets to live?
Well, it's got to be someone. Sorry, mate.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, you sound
I mean,
like
if you're going to put it down to something so silly as that,
inconsistency.
How is that inconsistent? You've decided. I've never decided that it would be in this sort of a way. The idea of women having to choose whether they have children or not, and you're talking about it as though it's basically some sort of population density thing.
Oh, they've always had the choice as to whether to have children or not.
We're
giving them
the
an
only
extra choice as to whether they can have sex without having children.
No,
That's
it's the choice. It's the choice of doing it legally or not. That's it. You don't ban abortions, mate. You just ban legal abortions. That's all. If people want to get rid of their baby, they'll get rid of their baby. Somebody will do it for them. All you're doing is driving something like that is ubiquitous, and you're putting it downtown. And
so essentially, like, if you're taking a child that's been fertilized, a zygote, and you're essentially saying, okay, well, that we can get rid of, but the 1-year-old who doesn't necessarily have any cognitive perception or ability or anything like that, that's going to cause some problems.
Okay.
So
obviously,
you get into this game of playing. You get into this game where
let me just clarify.
Where do you draw the line?
At humanity,
and that line is very different for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. For me, for example, as far as humanity is concerned, where that line is drawn really depends on the size of my phone book, to be honest. It's about as far as my contact list. The rest of you can go hang. Now, that doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me practical.
Well, I think from an ethical perspective, it kind of does, because you're essentially like...
You're not on my phone book, are you, Pascal?
No.
Well, that's your own fault, dude.
Well, I mean,
I tried to help you.
honestly,
You
my
had your
view
chance.
is that it's a question of values. It's like, well, okay, personally, I think that anybody living today would be very upset if they were told that at some point in their life they were their human rights were restricted, right? And even if that goes, I honestly think that goes back into the womb. Like if you told me that at some point in my life when I was in my mom's stomach that she has the legal right to just kick me out of there, I would have been pissed.
Wait, you weren't in a stomach, mate. You were in a womb.
Okay, mate. There seems to be a bit that you seem to be forgetting, and all you have to do is ask any angsty teenager, and they will say, "I didn't ask to be born." And that's the point. It's not your business whether you're born or not. It's nothing to do with you. You are not part of the equation. The you does not predate you.
But the other side of the argument, though, is obviously because there's such a thing as gestation. You do have to consider the impacts that are going to have that are going to actually play out on a woman's body, a woman's life.
You don't care about that.
And putting that woman into essentially like prisonership. That's what you're doing.
What?
When you force her to have a child. Let's say that abortion is illegalized, right? So this woman just has to carry out this pregnancy, right? She doesn't want to. That is going to obviously change everything about her life from that point on, and that is something that you do have to consider as well, right? And at the end of the day, it comes down to what you value more, right?
No, I'm thinking of the child.
Well, in my estimation is that in the cases where it's a woman went and had sex with her boyfriend and then wound up pregnant, that's her responsibility. This is my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
And
she's got options.
She has to carry out that responsibility at that point. Now,
what's this responsibility that she has to carry out?
I understand the other side. I understand the other side of the argument that she shouldn't be required to do that. But personally, I think that
her responsibility to who exactly?
To the human life growing inside of her.
Is the father then also required to do?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sort of a moral, what is it, relativist, I guess? Just that like morality is entirely subjective. Like I'll recognize your position, Mycroft, but I'm not gonna agree with it. It's just I'm gonna defer to majority rule.
It's easy to recognize.
I think there's also other factors to kind of consider, and I don't think that this disqualifies anything that you're saying, Mycroft, but there are several studies that, or kind of the book Freakonomics, for instance, talks about how
I read that. Yeah.
the massive drop in crime rates that we experienced in the 70s through the 90s is mostly attributable to
dead babies.
Legalized.
That's a theory.
And yes, I agree. It's not 100%, proven, but I think that there's a lot of data that suggests that having, and it makes perfect sense.
Dead babies.
When you have less babies out there that are being had by parents who are not adequately equipped to actually take care of the child in the manner that they should be, you're going to have both families and kids that are going to have a greater propensity of turning to crime, and you're going to have a surge in crime rates eventually as a result of implementing this.
Mycroft, what's the difference? Mycroft, what's the difference between taking a pill and just keeping your legs closed?
What's the real question?
Yeah.
What's the difference between taking the pill and keeping your legs closed?
Right.
I don't know what you're going for here, bud.
So while you ponder that, just in terms of what Vadim said, that's exactly why I support Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's 70% marginal tax rate.
No, Pascal, no. Pascal, no.
Are you Are you earning $10 million a year?
Me? Me specifically? Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Would you believe that?
No.
Well, then,
if you are, then you owe me 20.
That would make a logical vote if that was the case.
Yeah, if you are, you owe me $200,000 being your fucking carer.
You're not my carer.
Dude.
Do you know who my handler on the internet is? Come on, buddy. It's not you.
I'm not. I didn't say I was the only one.
Is it Ralph?
I can't believe you have to say I have a handler.
I do have a handler.
He needs several. He needs 24. I think this guy needs a team.
What do you mean by a handler? Are you an invalid? Like what?
No.
What?
No.
He's.
I am.
Some would say
that would be a very rude thing to say so bluntly.
Some would say that, but they.
I am a constant alcoholic streamer person that jumps onto people's streams and then says a bunch of ridiculous shit. So I do have a person who I consult with before I go on to
He's
stream.
basically everything that's wrong with the internet.
So you're saying that you have no personal responsibility?
Okay, we were talking about abortion. Right,
Everyone else has personal responsibility except him.
All right, got ya.
Isn't it, Mycroft?
What about the marginal tax rate? What do you have a problem?
Yeah.
with?
Why? What? Are you an embarrassed millionaire?
No, the thing is that the Chicago schools looked over the proposal to run a 70% tax rate, leaving the entire tax code the same and just raising it up to 70%, and nobody agreed that there wouldn't be very deleterious, how do you pronounce that word? Effects on the economy.
Are you going to say capital flight? Are you going to say capital flight?
How the heck is that supposed to occur within the economy when it's like a
because it de-incentivizes people to build businesses, because like if you have a cap on the amount of income that you can actually earn, you are not going to go that route.
It's not a cap though. It's essentially anything like, first, you know how marginal tax rates are, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Very well aware. I have a lot of libertarian friends. Believe me, they won't shut up about this shit.
I don't believe that, Mycroft.
I hate libertarians. That's why I talk to them all the time. They're fucking annoying.
Yeah, so they're not really friends, are they?
School 70% tax rate.
No, I'll send it to you, buddy. Hang on one sec. I put it in my shit posting channel. I mean, just
Mycroft, is there any equivalent research been done that says actually it will work?
Say what? What's the question?
Has there been any equivocal research to say that actually the 70% tax rate, marginal tax rate would work?
No, a panel of economists did not just dismiss AOC's 70% tax plan. Did a panel of respected economists just dismiss the idea of raising the top income tax rate to 70%? He happened to be on Twitter, Chicago.
Raising the top federal marginal tax rate on earned personal income to 70% and holding the rest of the current tax code, including the top bracket definition, fixed, would raise substantially more revenue, federal and state combined, without lowering economic activity. Most economists from the Chicago school, now remind yourselves here, this is the Chicago school. They're gonna be biased towards free market. Strongly disagreed with this. And I can shoot you over the link, and you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I have a Slate article that's clearing that up. because that's not what they were talking about.
Michael, go look at the actual studies, dude. Because
let's read this together. So it says if you happen to be on Twitter on Wednesday afternoon, you might have noticed a poll floating around suggesting that it was conducted by IGM Forum at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business, which regularly surveys a group of more than 40 top academic economists about policy issues in the news. The idea of hiking tax rates back to pre-Reagan levels has been getting a fair bit of attention ever since freshman Republican Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez Twitter brought it up a couple of weeks back in an interview with 60 Minutes. So IGM decided to try to take the pulse of the professional opinion of the matter by asking its experts whether they agreed or disagreed that a 70% tax rate would raise substantially more revenue for the government without lowering economic activity. The results were not positive. Only 18% of the panel agreed that a 70% rate would raise money substantially without dinging the economy. 49% disagreed, and 19% were uncertain. So case closed. Economists overwhelmingly think AOC is a political naive. Not at all. The results of this survey don't really tell us anything about academic opinion on high top marginal tax rate.
Yeah.
In part,
so we're just getting into it. We're getting into opinion now. This is silly, dude. Look. Go look at the studies. If you look at, I sent you that exact tweet that they're talking about there. Go look at the studies. The links are there in the study. You can type that into your browser and go look at it. It's not raising tax rates to 70% for people who make $10 million or more is just simply it will impact the economy. Now,
I have a question, and I certainly have not looked into these things, so I'm not making any claims. But the expenditure that most people who are suggesting this, they want to create like a vast network of, like a Green New Deal, like a vast network of new companies that are working on the forefront of technology in order to create technologies that are greener, that are safer for the environment, what have you. Wouldn't that help create an economy boom that would somewhat
Hey, crowd.
compensate? Are they taking that into consideration at all?
What would make me buy into that is if we can come up with a battery that actually fucking works. Really, honestly, I am 100% on board with green technology as soon as you make a battery that can actually store energy.
What I've been looking into, they're looking into semi-volatile chemicals. So cracking.
I'm fine with that.
Cracking. If you crack chemicals and recombine them, you can incorporate electricity directly into them and take it back out again.
Our problem is not the ability to generate electricity. Our ability to store energy is the issue. And
yeah,
that's
the whole point.
Back green energy.
No, Mycroft.
I keep saying this.
Mycroft, you're not listening to me. That's exactly what I was talking about. The idea using electricity.
Shut up.
Using electricity to crack chemicals. Okay, so for example, if you were to crack two chemicals that you can use to actually recombine, and then you have an energy surplus. So you basically just train the electricity down on a particular set of chemicals, and that will store the energy in basically having two separated chemicals, and then when recombined, you have an electricity surplus.
Sounds really sexy, buddy. Can you put it into play?
I'll dig it up 1 second.
Hello, Kraut.
No, it's Kraut here. Whatever, you fucking stupid German.
How the devil are you?
I'm alright.
Yeah, a bit quiet, but so am I, so that's life.
Fuck this stupid Google Hangout, stupid fucking thing that all.
Yeah, you sound drunk as fuck, man. I love it.
No,
I'm not drunk.
Tired. He's been having some discussions with some really pleasant people.
Hello? No. Hello? Hello? Test?
Yeah, that's better. That one. Keep that one. Keep that one.
Yeah, I just hate Catholics.
I hate them.
I hate them too. I was born one, and so do I.
Have you watched Warski's last video?
I won't watch war
because he actually made a video again. But anyway, I took the liberty to make a summary of the video, a short one. I'm gonna send it to Robin.
Okay.
Is it an actual video that he made and not like just a hangout that goes on for 4 hours and
This is not a joke.
Ripper chat?
Not a joke. He's 20 times he says, "I'm not a Nazi."
Oh God!
Does he say bus?
I'm getting another
20
drink.
fucking times he says, "I am not."
Joe, does he say I'm not a Nazi, but, or just I'm not a Nazi?
Yes, and I'm not a Nazi, and then he says amazing things like, "Oh my God, they're working with Kraut." What was it? Ian Miles Chong is working together with Kraut in a conspiracy involving who was the other guy? Someone else.
God.
It's.
I'm not a Nazi.
But the thing is, I don't know if any of you had to deal. I know Robin had to deal with drug addicts in his life at some point.
I can actually play this.
Typical behavior.
I can play this video that you've just shared me to the baying crowd if you'd like.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I really want to be friends with this bakura guy. Who's this bakura guy?
He doesn't like you.
Okay.
I want
so
to be friends with him though.
You should be able to hear
You
this.
don't like to-
Ready?
Do you like
Ready?
Doctor Who?
Ready, guys?
Okay, I'm
so
ready.
this is
I'll
Andy.
mute myself.
This is Andy.
Get ready to watch the show. A Nazi. Nazi.
Can you hear that?
Nazi. I do drugs. Nazis. A bunch of Nazis. All of them. Nazis. Nazis. Working with Kraut. Nazis. Get on his knees and start blowing. Nazis. Anyone who... Nazi. Stop it. You're not Nazis. Probably thinks I'm a Nazi now.
Okay.
That's basically the video.
Right.
That's an excellent summary of Randy Worski.
Well, it's not quite Munich and Nuremberg, but yeah, it's quite damning.
The thing is that it's such typical druggy behavior, you know. Everyone's fault. Everyone's fault but mine. Everyone's fault but mine. Everyone's fault but mine.
If you wanted him to become a communist, all you'd have to do is just basically throw money in that direction, and then he would become a communist. It's very simple. That's all he cares about.
Be a Marxist.
That's all he cares about,
Are you
dude.
suggesting that a man who burns his nipples and then does headstands on live chats, like live hangouts, is on drugs? That's preposterous, sir.
Might be a drug addict. Might be
Could
a money
be.
whore. Yeah.
To be fair, that's not necessarily a drug. It's not just druggies who talk like that.
I know. I have no clue what his drug behavior is, but the guy does kind of show signs of being manic and kind of, I don't know, just
Manic way.
Manic in the manner that people
He exhibits mania.
who do a lot of cocaine have done. So I'm
Not that you would know what that is.
Hang on a sec. I've
been very much exposed to people. I've seen people who like cocaine is a drug that some people can manage and can do leisurely and not have it destroy their lives. But I've seen plenty of people where that has occurred. Unfortunately, living in New York City, you see a lot of it. So,
well, I mean, the trouble with the biggest problem with drugs isn't the drug itself; it's the shit they cut it with.
You're right. Yeah. Well, no, I can tell you, I've been poor before, and I've hung around some crackheads in my life. Been there. I can tell you, his voice sounds a hell of a lot. I know. I'm an ass. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm coming up in the world, buddy.
Mike was pumped by a few druggies.
I've heard what his voice sounds like is actually the meth voice.
Nice.
The raspy tone he's got sounds a lot like the meth voice, not crack or cocaine. It sounds a lot more like meth.
The reason why I say cocaine is that I know he's admitted to leisurely doing it, so that's yeah, but whatever. This is random idle speculation. I have no clue. He could be a fucking vegan for all I know, and be totally straight edge. Somehow I doubt it, but yeah, just want to make that clear. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is also, like, me bringing this up is kind of stupid as well, because the challenge for me is gonna be to just ignore him, to do my best to ignore him.
Hey, you don't want to take a giant, like, steaming shit on Andy Worski, I get that, but is this the way to do it? You sure?
Well, let's be honest, I mean,
it's funny.
This isn't it's not like there's 18 million people watching the stream at the moment. It's not what you call.
Oh, have you ever done yourself the favor and clicked at the YouTube accounts of the people who comment on these videos or like his tweets?
Yeah, but these
it's
like
a bunch of 15-year-old girls. It's really embarrassing.
These Discord hobos.
We're all
like,
sex symbols,
have a tendency to like go through streams and shit until they find something that Kraut said, and then they'll play it on this little Ralph shit stream.
I think my favorite moment ever in Andy Worski's career on YouTube is when he hosted that chat, that fucking dumpster fire of a chat with Richard Spencer and Sargon of Akkad and company. And literally, Richard Spencer was in the middle of saying something to the effect of, you know, I really think that, you know, the alt-right has to hold itself up to a higher standard and start being better. It's something like that. And Worski literally jumped in to say, hold on a second, I got $100 chat from, you know, Kill All Kikes 94. That wasn't it, but it was something that like had some handle that was horrible, and he says Hitler did nothing wrong. 1488. All right, go on. You know, and it's just like so. I mean, it just paints such an accurate.
Did you see that clip of him on his live stream where? I know your position is you don't know if he is. Wait, let me find it. He's just. It's hard to describe. He seems just completely drugged out. Wait.
Yeah,
he's an inept idiot.
My position is that it's very likely that he's drugged out, but I'm just because.
Oh. Yeah, I'm talking about dude.
Yeah.
Vadim, fix your shit.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about a moment in.
You're going robot.
I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to Robin, okay? Worski literally was asleep and kind of woke up and didn't know who he was and what he was doing. What is this? Is this a stream? What am I? No, it sounds absurd. Just let me show you. Wait, I'm gonna send it to Robin.
Send it to me then.
Fuck this. Fucking Discord is gay.
Okay, you're just really tired.
Are we playing the guessing game of like?
I will be honest.
Here you go, Robin. Here you go. Here you go, Robin. If you just do me a favor, Robin. Play this clip. It's really revealing. I'll mute myself.
Who's got that background music on?
No, seriously, you can talk.
Robin,
where am I?
Oh. Come on, people, one at a time.
Can you hear it?
But when I said roboting, I really meant lagging.
What?
Can nobody else hear it?
Clip it.
You fucking kicked me off my show?
What?
No. How did we kick you off your show?
You fucking cunt.
What
Robin.
are you talking about?
Yes.
Dude.
You're supposed to play a video, man.
Can't you hear it?
You fuck.
Yeah.
I can't hear shit.
Stop. Do anything.
Can you not?
Stop talking. Hey, stop sharing.
You should be able to hear it.
What the fuck?
I can hear it fine.
I can hear it.
Oh, I thought you fucking hacked me.
No.
I thought I was hacked, but it was just a stop sharing thing. It was blocking the fucking bottom taskbar. I just had to click the taskbar. I didn't click. What the? I think I lost some fucking brain cells. Okay, let's fucking where were we?
Jeez.
What is fucking funny?
I don't know what's happening.
What?
Is this still going on? Yeah.
Is this it? Oh no, it's still going. It's another 2 minutes worth.
Came back and started freaking
It's just dead air.
What the fuck happened?
You guys have to play all of it. In 2 seconds. I don't know if I'm still lagging. Can you guys hear me?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, what
yeah,
the fuck
I want to say real quickly, has anyone seen the behind the music on Culture Club? There's this hysterical moment where, and it's also pathetic and sad, at the height of Boy George's heroin use, where he was at Live Aid and he's hanging out with both Sting and Sade, if you know who that is, if anyone remembers that, who that was, and he's absolutely incomprehensible, and the look on both Sade's face and Sting's face as they're staring at him, and he has all this just for some reason this white, like it looks like he fell into plaster of Paris, and it just stuck in different parts of his fucking face, and they're staring at him oh my god, how do I keep a straight face? This is simultaneously the most hysterical and pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life, and I don't know, it sort of reminds me of that. But I do have to get going. CC has to finish his 72-hour Save the Turfs live stream playing,
72 hours, jeez. It's gonna take a lot of coffee.
What's that?
Have fun.
Yeah, he's got some good guests. Mitch McConnell comes in. Blair White, Hodor comes in.
Are we going to see this whole 72 hours?
Is Glinna going to come in?
It's highlights of the stream.
And will Worski snort some cocaine off Blair White's dick?
That hasn't happened yet, but maybe I'll put that in.
Has CC sorted out her SoundCloud?
SoundCloud? What do you mean?
Soundflower.
Once I finish this video, I'm gonna get back to all of that, and I have a week to prep before the first podcast that we're doing.
You finished? Do you edit CC's videos then?
I'm gonna go to bed too because I'm at the
No
brink
worries,
of collapse. I'll see you guys later.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Later, Joe.
I'm a technician on CC's videos, but I'm doing the podcast is separate from CC. That's something that I'm doing with both Tim Demotivator Opinion, Tim Blake, I don't know if you know who that is, and Colt Duffy, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I must say, I've been curious with if Capricious Cat is a cat that's been zapped through God through the internet, what does he need a worthless human slave for?
He just, he's a cat. It's hard to get them to do anything. He
There's no such thing as a
by his own rules, and
he needs somebody to open the tins.
Like Zargon of a cod.
Cats can't operate a tin opener. Therefore, that's why they have to be enslaved. Trust me.
This is the thing about CC, okay? He has miracle power. He can do miraculous things, but he's not he's not all powerful. So he has reserves, and 90% of his miracle power is used doing things like actually communicating in English, and actually talking. That takes up most of his reserves. So sometimes he just doesn't have enough left over to edit video and to do all of the grunt work that I take care of.
Oh, dude, I know that feeling. You work for quite a while. It's fuck, I can't be bothered. Somebody else do it for me.
If only CC could empty his own litter tray.
Vadim, are you going to act out a Grey Linum?
I have some I have a picture of him in it. I've never heard the guy talk, but yeah, I might actually look.
He's in Black Books.
If I can do a decent impression of him, maybe he'll end up being a guest on the stream. We'll see. But anyhow, yeah, I'm gonna go take care of that. It's been an interesting conversation. I enjoyed it, even the disagreements. I think that Although
Vadim, you are a sexy, sexy man.
What?
So you're a sexy, sexy man, Vadim. Keep being reasonable. It's a good thing.
Sir.
I'm
Yes,
feeling the guy hugs
I
here.
certainly disagree with you, but I do appreciate the clarity with which you voice your arguments, and the fact that we can have these arguments without, like, you know, too much
anger
and shit.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I'm not being facetious. So, all right, guys, you guys are awesome, and
Much
good
love, bud.
talking to all of you.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Take it sleazy later.
Wow. I'm
Late.
not too. But
See you later,
I do want to
crocodile.
say, before I leave, Bakura, can we be friends, buddy? I love your beard. Your beard is amazing.
Mycroft, do you like Doctor Who?
Bakura's not having it.
Mycroft, do you like Doctor Who?
No.
It's a well then. You've got more chance of being friends with Adolf the fucking Jew baby massacreist.
Roger. Anyway.
He does have a friend. He does have a friend like that, I'm sure.
Robin.
Hello.
Robin, hit me up later, you sexy, sexy bitch.
How much later?
I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Eat the rich.
I gotta hit him up. What does this entail? I've never hit anyone up in my life.
It involves
Have I got to bring a gun?
Yeah, sucking penis. I think.
Let me find
It's
out
an
about this. Hang on a
Arizona
second.
thing.
Hit me up. Wiki.
Oh dear, he's
Ah.
googling it.
I think
Apparently, it's somebody called Gaia Ferrell made a tune. I don't know if this is in relation to it, but I'll keep that on the back burner.
Has it got anything to do with
It's
fisting?
mainly songs. One of them includes somebody called Pitbull.
I'd just like. There's something wrong. You've only got one dislike so far. Come on, chat. Why have we got more dislikes?
I'm a little lost.
Fine, I can dislike the video. If I have to.
Hit 'Em Up is a diss song by hip-hop artist THAC, featuring the Outlaws, a group associated with him. It is a B-side on the single How Do You Want It? Okay.
You sound like a Radio 2 presenter.
Big shout out to all you truckers out there.
It's a shame Mycroft's gone because he'd probably be able to find it. There's a bloke that does.
Shall I speak with my does a little bit more? Talk like this.
There's a gentleman that does ultra British translations of American hip hop songs. It's like one wants to hit one up. One
That's
will take
tickled.
it just
That's
about to the
tickled
limit,
Bakura,
but
isn't
not
it?
quite.
There's not a lot involving hit me up.
I'm sure I've heard that phrase before.
He wants money.
There is a song that
Apparently
is,
he
one
wants money.
to hit one up.
Would let me hit him up for the loan of his car next to. I can't afford him. I can't afford his drinking expenses.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for his drinking, he would be so far into the
I
£10
can't afford
million
my own.
bracket.
Is
yeah,
that
by the way, when Kevin Logan's cat finally dies, everybody gets to make fun of his reaction to that.
Ooh.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Oh, that's
Oh.
that's poetic justice.
That's let's table that. Let's table that. There we go.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing we know for sure.
I won't.
One thing we know for sure: the cat's in a better place. She's away from Tilly.
Ouch! You heartless beast.
I wasn't even aware that Kevin Logan's cat was ill. But there we go. I didn't know he had a cat. Oh, we get it. Unfortunately, yeah. I also know he's a girl named Sippy.
Am I going to be like Exhibit A on somebody's video now?
Yes.
Oh god.
Yes, you always are, man. I mean, come on.
I'm really getting.
Have you seen the what's her name? Mary the Witch. She made a video.
Oh
on this.
man, I'm so.
Like, how was it? I didn't watch it, to be honest.
Is that the woman that Thunderfoot sort of ruined? Whose business through?
No. Maria the Witch is someone who joined us, and then she got upset at Rowan because he said
she's libertarian gone commie. So swinging wild, Francine.
Like, yeah, I remember like your entire quote was like both capitalism and socialism both have some good and bad in them.
Yeah, and apparently that's a revelation.
And like that was like she got super triggered by it and just like left.
Yeah.
Without even arguing against it.
The video starts off with me going on about penises and things. I was just like, "Fucking cheers, love." Not taking too much out of context.
Yeah, we've got
are
to
you?
dismantle all of society and then rebuild it. Okay, yeah, let's treat the planet like a fucking Nintendo.
It's like the Al Qaeda wanted to actually renovate the World Trade Center by smacking 2 planes into them.
Oh look, we still got all the same problems, only now we're all poor and hungry. That's great. The one thing that I wanted to ask you, Robin, did you find the debate between you and Zexy?
I asked DK, but he never came back to me on that. I've looked and I can't find his channel. I looked as well. I'm sure I subscribed, but I'm lazy and really not really reliable as a witness in a court of law, which this
I would have
isn't.
liked to listen to that and just try to hear what sort of arguments he actually had.
Well, it's the I've read a lot of books on the subject, so I know much more about life than the proletariat. I'm there to lead them as they murder my political enemies for me. It's like, ooh.
Now, you've read like a couple books, and they all are coming from the 19th century, so you can get a 19th century perspective with all the problems that come with, philosophy of that time. Or
Current
philosophy.
year, mate. Style never goes out of fashion. You know what I'm saying?
It's like there's a reason we moved to a democratic system and majority rule. It's pretty concrete in regards to people who teach the ethical positions at Yale, which is a course that I looked at after that stupid discussion.
Yes, but they have some very compelling theme music.
The hell with representative democracy or even democracy. I want an AI government already.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's like, wouldn't it be cool if we had century?
Oh God.
I mean, they already have all the data they need to determine everyone's best interest.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
So
and
just-
that's the day when half of us are turned into soap.
No, I think in the future we'll be voting for bits of code rather than decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll be voting about whether
getting to a
we're allowed
point
to vote or
where-
not.
No, it's going to get to a point in the near future, if we're not there already, where an AI would be able to determine with very, very small margin of error everyone's voting decisions. So they don't have to go out to the polls. The AI already knows.
I think we're actually at the end times, guys. So basically the last words that will be uttered on the world would be, "Try it again."
Control Alt Delete.
And that'll be that.
Or not enough data. Please try.
AI.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Somebody's going to make a fucking black hole or something stupid, you know.
What's stupid? Yeah.
Have a look at the side.
That's the Central Intelligence.
Woo!
That we get the 70% marginal tax rate implemented immediately.
Oh god. So Prophet, no, it's not that great a series, but it was not that bad. Okay. So, stupid shit.
I just thought, I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's people are not throwing a big stink over the whole 70% marginal tax rate. Before Reagan came along, the wealthy were taxed at 90%. That did not crash the economy.
People are quite happy. So this is a social democratic position where you take the wealth from the top people, and this music is like really, really loud. So can we like,
Mike? Can we just
shut it off?
Can we get this in perspective? It's not taking all the wealth; it's taking some of the wealth.
It's taking
the extremely. I mean, let's be fair.
Okay,
when you're earning over 10 million a year, that's when it. I mean, up to that point, I mean, if you're only earning £9,999,999 per annum, then you're not affected. When you reach that 10, it's above that 10%. That 10 million.
It's a marginal tax rate. So once you hit the 10 million, that's the chunk of cash beyond that point that's going to start getting hit. And what we do at that point in time is we just, take that money and redistribute it into social programs for individuals right at the bottom.
I mean, here's the thing, like, even when it's, if and when it's implemented with that kind of marginal rate, people just keep going like, well, billionaires have multiple methods of avoiding that. And yes, it doesn't all just go to like the Cayman Islands and just sitting in an account. It incentivizes something else, investing it back into the system, making new businesses, and those businesses will hire more people. And yes, it'll get redistributed in another way. You don't have to just take a loss out of it because of the taxes. No, just invest it in more businesses. That way, you're going to redistribute it with that business, and yes, you're going to make a lot more profit out of it. And by the way, that's how it used to be under I think it was Eisenhower. It was like 90%.
It was before Reagan. Reagan basically said, hey, let's give them all the money and magically
the tax rate. Look. Shh. The tax rate that's pretty much was in place when Detroit was being built into this mega metropolis of industry was at a 90% marginal rate. I think it was above $5 million or something, but it was there. It was at 90%. And yeah, that tax rate was there when Detroit was being constructed. All those factors were being constructed. So you can't really say that having that tax rate is going to be detrimental to building new businesses or to enterprise in general, because real life examples don't really agree with you.
Yeah, because right now 80% of the American population are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you give them more money, they're going to spend that money, and that's going to be pushed into their own economy. It's just an economic fact. The other thing is that I can't hear myself think because the music is like too loud.
Robin, need to fucking turn off the music.
No, don't do that.
It's part of the bloody ambiance. Get used to it.
Yeah,
I really don't need that.
Well,
so if you could shut it off, like, that would be awesome.
No, that's impossible. That can't be done.
All right.
How about turning it down at a notch?
I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.
Yay.
Oh, for God's sake. I'm sorry, but
He's so
sometimes...
pedantic. Like,
I know.
oh my God, there's music.
I'm sorry, but it's the star syndrome. It's like, I didn't get what I wanted, so I walked off the set. Fuck off.
Probably like Trump does.
I mean, yeah. Oh God, no. I'm not talking about that twat tonight. I'm laughing my cock off about Stone, but I'm not discussing Trump.
Yeah, speaking of stupid shit, I saw a campaign for something. It's for underprivileged girls, and getting a campaign involving giving money for underprivileged girls, that's for something. That's kind of okay. But this is quite possibly the stupidest thing you could campaign for. Doing that.
Oh, I
Captain Marvel. Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
I go down to the prostitutes every night and try and contribute to underprivileged girls.
I mean, seriously, giving lots of money to help girls see a film.
What? Okay.
And it's a $30,000. I mean,
okay,
well,
this is stupid. Well, it's passed.
I know, and that's what's more stupid.
I mean, there's a campaign to fund the wall through this, so
Yeah, that got kicked off and refunded, didn't it?
Never mind food, education, housing.
Less than 1,000 people have contributed $30,000. So,
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
For a stupid campaign, yeah, giving them food, education, shelter, really not important then?
That's precisely. Each person has basically given over $1,000.
And as far as Captain Marvel goes, look, obviously I've not seen it yet. Anti-SJWs are already shitting on it, saying it's going to be shit. I have no opinion. I think it's just going to be an average movie.
What, like Black Panther?
Yeah, exactly like Black Panther.
I don't know if anyone noticed, but they're all average movies. That's why they have to make all this controversy to get people to go and see it.
I mean, am I allowed to say that actually?
You know what? I don't think any of us are allowed to say anything, because at the end of the day, I'm knackered. I got up very early this morning, and I'm actually about to go to bed. So I'm going to cut this short.
So I can stay awake.
Yeah, I don't do this. Yeah, that's not how it works.
Just inject coffee into your veins.
I'm not drinking coffee at 10:30 at night. I'm not like Wonder Woman.
No, I want coffee.
Well, have a vodka then.
No. I got work to do tomorrow.
Then go to bed.
Okay. So yeah, thanks everybody for turning up. It's been grand. Much love, everybody. Take it easy.
See you.